Alright, hey guys, Reza here from Budget Audio Reviews. Today I'm going to be bringing you my personal endgame budget stack for home use, for my desktop use. So I've been spending a bit of time over the past couple of months gathering gear, putting things together, and I think I've reached that endgame status for my personal use at home. So I think this set right here in front here has satisfied the cravings for my ears over the past couple of years, and I think this is something that you could use on your own, and it fits well within most of our budgets. If we've been saving up for a couple of months, let's say 3 months, 4 months, I think we can get to this level of audiophile enjoyment at home very comfortably. So I've brought this whole stuff here from my room all the way out to the dining table in my hall so that I can showcase to you guys and be in front of the camera as well. Alright, to begin with, the laptop is on my left side here. This is running Tidal, okay, and it's coming through the Schiit Modi 3 right here, and then we have the Schiit Magni Heresy, which is the M, and then in between it's passing through the FX Audio Tube 03, okay, and the headphones right now will be running the Hifiman HE400i 2020 version. So I think the Hifimans are so far has reached my level of enjoyment. So between this, the AKG K612 Pro, the Sennheiser HD598, I did find the AKG a little bit lacking in its imaging, and the HD598 a bit lacking in its trebles or clarity. Bass is okay on the HD598, but the Hifiman surprisingly can deliver sub bass very well. So I can listen to EDM or electronica, and I still can get to enjoy the good sub bass delivery that's coming from the magnetic planar here on the HE400i. Okay, so what's the benefit of using the Modi here? So I've used the Kagoos DEC K3. Let's flash it on the screen right here. So the Kagoos DEC K3 is an extremely budget DEC M setup. You can get it on AliExpress for Singapore dollars about $83. Work that out into US dollars, that's probably 60 plus, maybe US dollars. So it's a fairly powerful budget DEC and amp, because for that amount of money you can get very good resolution coming from the source, for example either Spotify or Tidal. I've been using Tidal for about 2 months, and I really enjoy what Tidal has to offer. Coming back to the Kagoos DEC K3, as compared to the Modi over here, the Kagoos DEC K3 has much more transparent sound, but because of that transparency, the sound comes off to maybe can be a bit sibilant at times. So especially passing that sound through to the HE400i, it somehow enhances the trebles a bit too much for my ears. So I thought that was quite consistent between different earphones. So maybe the Kagoos DEC K3 can be paired better with a little bit warmer sounding headphones, maybe like the Sennheisers. But since I enjoy the imaging and the precision that the HE400i is giving me, then I think that a slightly warmer, smoother kind of processing will be better. So initially I was quite skeptical, because if you read the forums on HeadFi, whatever, everybody's just saying a DEC is a DEC, it converts the digital signal to analog signal, and it should all be the same. But from personal experience, it's not that way. So I've tested it with running through the Modi and to the Schiit Magni Heresy, alright, versus the Kagoos DEC K3, bypassing the M, just the DEC through to the Heresy and taking out of the picture the tube buffer. The sound is clearly very different. So again, on the Kagoos DEC K3, I get that very harsh sibilant sounds that my ears cannot take for now. I just don't enjoy that kind of sound. Bass comes off a little bit flat. Now, what's the difference here with the Modi? So the Modi, I found that the Modi is able to deliver something very smooth out the door. So the AK, although this is a slightly dated deck here in terms of the chip being used, but if you've been reading up and joining some of the good groups, I'm on the Facebook group called NBBA. Alright, so that group is really, really good. We discuss a lot about implementation and how things are being put together, not just because of the chip. So don't keep chasing the latest chipset. Don't keep chasing 4490, 4493, 4497, and so on and so forth. Maybe I should flash those chips here on the wall just to show you guys. So at the end of the day, those things are meaningless unless it translates to a better sound for you. So at the end of the day, whatever you have set up on your desk or on your mobile phone or whatever portable devices, it should serve you and you only. And if your end game is to have what we call the music first audiophile journey, then then the latest thing may not be the best thing, then the highest spec thing may not be the best thing. So watch out for those things unless your audiophile journey is gear first, then maybe that's different. So if you're chasing gear, if you're chasing high quality gear, high precision gear, the latest specs, and you enjoy listening to the nuances of the latest gear, then I think that would work very, very well for you. But for me, I think I want to enjoy my music a little bit better. Okay, so cut the long story short, why should I be having a tube buffer here? So the tube buffer helps to enhance the ability of the warmth of the sound. May not be true because some tubes naturally do not have a warm sound, but for this one it helps to smooth out. For me, what I found again is smooth out the trebles, the peak of the trebles. Now, even if it is a placebo effect on me, alright, what happens to the Tube 03, what I was looking for was an external controls to the bass and trebles equalization. So this is a gross treble equalization, this is a gross bass equalization. It doesn't have the mids, but this works very well for me depending on the headphones that I'm running it through. So for example, on the Hifimans, I could boost the bass a little bit here, the bass frequencies, and keep the trebles at neutral, at 0. Alright, or on the Sennheisers, on the contrary, I could cut the bass and increase trebles, or leave the bass and increase the trebles, and that works very well. So I have tested A/B to run this stack, just the Modi and the Heresy, and then Modi through the tube buffer, through the Heresy, and it's running at neutral here. Okay, I'll share with you in terms of the settings in a while. The sound has no coloration in that sense, in terms of noise floor and all that. So you don't get any additional electrical noise coming from the tube buffer coming to your ears. So that's kind of good. I did invest in a little bit better RCA cables. Again, this could be placebo effect or not, but I do think having a little bit better cables running through the system will help enhance your experience. These cables are about $25 Singapore dollars per pair, so I have 2 pairs here. That's 50 Singapore dollars. That's about US $35 for 2 good pairs of shielded RCA cables that's running through this this set right here. Okay, coming to the Tube 03 buffer here, how do we set it up properly? So for the volume knob here, I will link to the video that I found this guy who managed to measure the outputs from the volume, trebles and bass, and then he was able to measure through a software. I currently forgot what software he used, something to do with a microphone kind of a measurement, and he was able to measure what sort of outputs is coming out here. So at about this 11 o'clock position on the volume, we are at 0 decibels. The moment you come up to 12 o'clock on the volume, you are at plus 5 decibels. So if you have a weaker amp, you might want to push the preamp stage a little bit more. I do have a powerful amp right here, which is the Heresy, so I'm going to keep it at that 11 o'clock position. Okay, next we are talking about the bass and the trebles. So the bass and trebles, both, okay, so not both, different. The bass, we have minus 10 dB to plus 10 dB, alright, with 12 o'clock being 0 dB. Trebles, we have plus 5 dB to minus 5 dB, with 12 o'clock at 0 dB. So you can attenuate bass a little bit better, alright. Trebles, Again, you don't need so much attenuation to trebles. That's the reason why it's just +5 and -5 decibels. So this thing works very, very well. Again, the moment I tweak the trebles on the Sennheiser HD598, I get a little bit more air, a little bit more supposed clarity. In terms of the trebles is being heightened a little bit more, which is a good listening experience. Now that's good because this thing is only US $17 to $23. So even if the tube doesn't work, you've got good, bass and trebles, external bass and trebles adjustments that is outside of the desktop, outside of the laptop. Okay, so you don't have to mess around with anything on the computer. You just have to adjust these external knobs here, which is very, very good. So I think that is currently lacking in a lot of the modern gear. We don't have enough external knobs that we can adjust for tiny adjustments for bass, trebles, and maybe mids. I'm looking at another preamp stage which has mids, but that's going to cost me a bit more money, so that will be on the back burner for a while. So and what's happening with the Heresy right here with the difficult to run Hifiman HE400i 2020, it is still on low gain. Over here, the volume knob for my ears at daytime will be at about 9 o'clock position, alright, 9 p.m. position. Nighttime it will be a little bit less, maybe at about a 10 o'clock position or so. Sorry, a 2 o'clock position. So I'm looking at the volume knob the other way around. Okay, so maybe daytime I'll be running at 75% ish volume. Nighttime will be running at about 65%, 70% ish kind of volume on the low gain. I did try switching it up to high gain mode. It's just that you can't adjust the volumes at a smaller graduation, so it gets loud really quickly on the Heresy. So Heresy, really good. The benefit of the Heresy, again, is not just about loudness. The Heresy is able to drive the signals in such a way that it goes wider, taller, deeper. So I like to use this term. I just thought about it. It's sonic extension. So if you think about sound traveling further and deeper, it's a sonic extension. So from here to you, that sound is able to travel further and deeper towards you. So that sense of stage and space and presence is able to be delivered very, very well on the Schiit Heresy. Now, this whole thing right here, in terms of its price points, let me just switch to my notes here. All right. Okay, the Hifiman HE400i 2020 version is US $170. The Schiit Modi, depending on where you are in the world, I'm in Singapore, so shipping may be a bit difficult. But I managed to buy this used, so I got a good price at the used price. The Heresy, I bought it brand new here. So if depending on where you are in the world, the Modi may cost anywhere between 130 to 160 US dollars. Same for the Heresy, US 130 to 160 dollars. Depends where you are in the US or the world. And the FX Audio Tube 03, this is between US $17 to $25, depending on where you're getting your deals. Okay, now the total cost of 1, 2, 3, and 4 here is US $455 to $515. Now that may take you some time to save up, but I think this can be a budget end game for most of you, depending on the kind of sound that you will be enjoying and what you will be listening to. So you can competitively compare the Hifiman HE400i to the AKG K612 Pro. Slightly lower, close back, maybe the AKG K371. Sennheisers, you have to see what's available right now. They just released a new one, which is the 560S, if I believe. I think that is a competitively priced headphones, slightly above at about US 200 plus. So we don't know the sound quality or the sound type of the sound signature of that Sennheiser, but roughly this is the budget that you want to work with. The budget is US 450 to maybe top end US $550 for a home desktop setup. You could go with something a little bit cheaper in terms of the DAC, like the SMSL Sanskrit 10th MK2. That's quite a mouthful, which has the AK4493 chipset. It's not so much again about the price, it's about the sound quality. So according to the guys on the NBBA group, Yannick has did a good extensive testing on different types of decks. According to him, the Sanskrit MK2, 10th MK2 delivers very excellent, good, mature, warm sound for you. Now again, it depends on the kind of sound you want. If you want a crispy, sharp, transparent sound, yeah, maybe other decks with the Cirrus Logic chips, whatever, I'm not too sure, I'm new, but try and make comparisons in terms of the in-house tuning or the in-house sound of the different decks, including the amps as well. I decided to stay with Schiit because I think the pairing will pair very well. The company has designed it in such a way that this thing will work together very well. The tube buffer here, it's not necessary for most of you. I just wanted something fancy by my bedside at night for me to enjoy, to look at the glow of the tubes here, and that's something that you know, makes me happy, you know, just for a few bucks, you know. All right, let's move on. I just want you guys to take a listen to how the Hifiman would sound. All right, so I'm gonna have to put this on the video and link it together, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Thanks so much. If there's any questions about this stack right here, do let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video about me sharing my endgame stack right here for home use. See you again real soon. Do click that like, share and subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed what you've seen today. Thanks so much guys. See you real soon.